Hello and welcome back to this course of videos on Node.js. In this video we'll be installing Node.js. So if you go ahead to nodejs.org in the download section, you'll be given the choice of installing two versions. LTS is the most current stable version. Currently in February 2017 this is version 6. If you wanted the bleeding edge you would click current and you would get version 7. However, we want just version 6. You can choose to install on Windows, Mac, or compile yourself from source code. My computer is a Windows computer, so I'll be clicking here. Just a note that the default installation from clicking here is x64, which is okay for me, but if you wanted a 32-bit installation, you would click on here. When I click here, it gives me my installation file, my MSI file. If I click on here, it will install. It takes less than a minute. I've actually already done it. Very, very simple. Just accept all of the defaults. Now, a quick note here. We're installing to our local machine. Now, obviously, when you want to use Node in production, you would be installing Node to a server. And in later videos, we'll be showing you how to install onto such a server, which is DigitalOcean. But in the short term, in the first few videos, we are just going to be using localhost as our server, which is obviously on our local computer. So we're downloading to, in the case of Windows, our C drive, and this is going to serve as our localhost until we deploy to a production server. So as you can see here, it's installed again on Windows to Programs File, Node.js folder, and there is our executable file for Node. Now, to check this has worked, if I go to my command prompt in Mac, that would be terminal, and I can just type node-v, that returns the version of Node that's installed. And as we said before, we chose the most stable version, which was v6. So that shows that the installation has worked correctly. Now, what Node also gives us is it allows us to use our command prompt or terminal as a sandbox for testing and playing around with Node code. Obviously, Node code is JavaScript code. It's JavaScript with extra functionality. We talked about in previous videos how Node uses the V8 engine and adds on C++ modules to increase the functionality of JavaScript. So there's really JavaScript plus is what you're really able to type in here. And so if I just type in Node, that's going to run the executable file that we just looked at and now allow me to type Node code into here. So I could type in some very basic JavaScript, such as I'm going to create a variable here, var1 equals 1. And then I'm going to say, ask JavaScript what 1 is. It's going to return 1. Now, Node supports ES6. It's about 99% compliance, I believe, with the ES6 ECMAScript standard. So we can also use ES6 in here. So just to give an example, let's say const 2 equals 2. And then we can return ask JavaScript what it's going to give us back. It's going to give us 2. If I try to reassign our constant variable and say 2 equals 3, it's not going to let me, because obviously ES6 constant, you're not allowed to reassign a constant. Another ES6 functionality that we can quickly look at here is arrow functions, which is a new ES6 function. So if I say let is the new var in ES6. So I'm going to say I'm going to call the function add, and this is a function expression. Add equals, and there's no function word anymore with arrow functions. You just go straight to the parameters, and I want to add a and b together, and then I put my arrow in here for my arrow function, and I'm basically going to return, if I can spell correctly, a plus b. Now, so I've created my function here, and then I'm just going to run my function by adding together 2 and 3, and we can say it returns 5. So this is a quick introduction on how to install Node.js and how to use the REPL, how to turn your terminal or command prompt into a kind of playground for playing around with Node code. And we'll do that more in future videos. So I hope to see you back.